What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we are working on our 2024 Raptor 700 project. So kind of answer the question, is it worth going full bolt-on with your Raptor, full suspension, and are you ready for the powerhouse that it can easily become with some bolt-on parts? So I'm not joking whenever I say wheelie on demand is what this project is. So stick around till the end to get our real opinion. We got about 2 or 3 rides on the Raptor so far, so stick around. We'll kind of walk you through the whole build. We got the hotcam stage 3 in there. Everything's torqued down, Loctited. Now we gotta do our valve lash. Exhaust pretty tight. Looks like it should be 0.18 millimeters. Intake 0.1, which is even tighter. You can see that they're pretty loose. So we'll get our feeler gauges out and start adjusting them. And I have one of these tools also. I will mention one thing real quick. The decomp lever. I had watched the video on the install and it said to pull the center pin out just to make sure you don't drop it. But whenever I pulled the center pin out, if this cam rotates, you know, like it did, which was up, the decomp pin will actually fall out and kind of bottom out down there. So whenever you're trying to pull the cam will not come out with anything. So I finally got the cam to rotate back around just a little bit. Decomp pin fell back in, and then I could pull it out. So that was like a waste of 5 minutes, but not too bad. So there's a TSB out for the Raptor flywheel nut. So the trick is just pull it off of the impact, put it back on with a little bit of red Loctite, and then we'll look up the torque spec for it. So got our red Loctite, go ahead and hit this with an impact. So I would say that was kind of loose. I mean, just me, but that's why we're taking it off. So it looks like it's 110, so our little torque wrench isn't going to do that, so we'll have to get the big one out. Into the bigger parts now, we're going to go ahead and put the rear shock on as well as the Hess link. And first step is to go ahead and pop these centers out. So this one doesn't come with a Zerk fitting. I was kind of surprised, even though the factory one does. But we'll just push these seals to one side. Should be able to pry it off there. And then push the center to the other side. That'll pop off. Put those right there. Pop the center out. And it doesn't come greased, so definitely get a healthy amount of grease on both sides. And kind of work it in. And usually I try to fill these channels up beside. Just fill anywhere up so it kind of fills anywhere that could get water in it. Lining up that linkage was where it really pays to have 2 people, but that's alright. We were able to just tap it in with a soft blow hammer. And now we're going to get all of our torque specs. I believe it was 40 top shock, 40 front wishbone, and then everything else is 31. So pretty easy. So head linkage is installed. We don't have our front upper A-arms back in powder coat yet. So we'll see, it's definitely lower, which is good. That's what we were going for. So it's just gonna look awkward for a couple days until we get our upper A-arms back. Yeah, that is 100 times softer. So we filled the last little bit of space around the bolts up with more grease. We'll go ahead and wipe the fittings off. But yeah, go ahead and get your full exhaust intake programmer, all that good stuff. But honestly, your first mod, second mod needs to be suspension. So I can already tell this is gonna make a huge difference. So if you haven't already, definitely hit up Rocky Ron. While we got the bars off, we're gonna go ahead and remove the factory upper bushing. For some reason, I don't know why, it seems like they're never greased or there's not enough grease in them. So we're just gonna go ahead and take it off while the handlebars are off, add a ton of grease to it, and then just put it back together. So yeah, almost, there's nothing really there. There's just a little bit of dirt that already got in and it's starting to wear on the stem. So we're gonna clean the stem off and then grease all of it. So it looks like there's a little bit of corrosion on the stem just from water getting in. So I think this is probably 1,000, something like that. Grit sandpaper, really, really soft. We're just gonna try to get the corrosion off just so it's not abrasive on our seals. And Fast Flex came through with a set of ATV high 14-degree bend. We got the red elasters in there right now. So looking forward to using those. And they actually suggested +2 Hauser stem for this setup. I'm gonna try to ride it and just see. These risers will bring it up just a little bit, and then they're already ATV high. So we'll see what happens on the first or second test ride. See if we can get used to it or not. Spoiler alert, bars are too low. So we ended up with the Hauser plus 1.25. They only offer one stem for the Raptor, and it has a very aggressive rake to bring the bars back towards you, kind of a little bit further in the seat. And honestly, like that made all the difference in riding position. That first ride, it was all right, but I could tell whenever I wanted to get kind of more aggressive with the bike, I ended up about sitting up on the gas tank to try to get more control. So with the plus 125 with the aggressive rake where it brings the bars back to you, definitely worth looking into from Hauser Racing. And they actually saw my race bike and said that I should kind of try to lean the bars a little bit more backwards instead of pushing them up. So I'm going to try that with this one and see how I like it. Usually I stand up whenever I ride, so I'm kind of always used to the bars being a little bit pushed more forward. But we're going to try to rotate them a little bit back, more than we usually would, and then give it a test ride and probably bring our 6mm with us and just see how we like it. And Fast Flex was correct about bringing the bars a little bit back to you, maybe a neutral or maybe a little bit past neutral towards the seat. That way you take full advantage of the elasters that are there. If the bars are pushed forwards, you're not really getting the motion up and down that you're kind of looking for with the Fast Flex bars. So bringing them back to you, it took a little bit to get used to, maybe 20 minutes of kind of cruising around. But I think it's definitely worth it, and instead of rotating the bars forward. So Cuervo Racing gave us a hint on our bars and said that, hey, the stock cable should reach. So it's looking like the clutch is kind of close. Throttle's definitely good. There's plenty of room there. So hopefully whenever we get our clutch lever on, that there's enough slack in it. Or else we already have some of these cables in stock just in case, the +2s. I've been trying to put the parts on like kind of as they make sense. Make sure we don't put any parts on and then they're kind of in our way for the install. So I've done everything I need to do. Remove the e-brake cable, remove the AIS, everything on this side of the bike. We removed everything we need to off the handlebars. We already did the cam, so I feel like now is probably everybody's favorite part is the exhaust system. So nothing else should get in our way, so it should be good to go. Go ahead and slip the pipe on there. So quick bolt swap, whatever bolts were in those holes for the muffler were too long, so we're just going to grab some out of our Rocky Mountain kit and then back these back out. Alright, those work much better. Exhaust is exactly where it needs to be. Now we're going to check the mid pipe. Just kind of wiggle it around. That's looking pretty close. Maybe rotate that in a little bit so it's away from the frame. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So. Ow! Round 2. Shit. All right, great success. So last step, I always tell everybody, with a new exhaust, we're gonna clean our hands off because we got that machine oil. All right, lint-free towel and some rubbing alcohol. And you can see where my hand was all along this pipe. If I were to leave that, it would instantly discolor and like blotches. And we all like that good color that kind of comes around and fades off into the mid pipe. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wipe all the oil from our hands off, and that way our pipe stays a good color, kind of like a more natural look. So all that oil, some of it's probably from manufacturing too. We want to make sure we get that off, and that'll help us get that good purple blue color that's more even. So now we got probably the easiest step. We got our Power Commander 5, we got our cable that comes with it, and we're gonna pop that in the USB. Open up the Power Commander software, open map. Ours is on our desktop. ATV tunes, we got Raptor 700, PC5, and then we're going single exhaust with hotcam stage 3. So this is one of our tunes from Cuervo. We're going to do open, and then we're going to do send map. Map was sent successfully. That's it, like 3 seconds. So I'm pretty sure this tune's going to be real close, so it should save us from having to go to the dyno. So appreciate that. So we got our Cuervo Racing clutch arm right here. So I just lined the ball up kind of with the end of the bar. I'm sure that it's going to be close. I'm not really worried about exact right now. But it's definitely closer without this like sweeping out. So excited to try that one. While our cable's off, go ahead and lube it, especially because we'll be riding in the sand. We don't want sand getting down in there because you'll break a cable pretty quick. The custom on top of custom on top of custom. So we have this bracket. I really like these. I'm sure somebody will redesign it at some point and make it even better. But for now, I get these on eBay. And the Raptor has a little shelf where the factory kind of prong went across to hold the rear brake line. These are meant to bolt to nothing, so it's just supposed to be floating out there. But if you put it on the shelf like it should go, that's the only place it really, if it goes up here, it's not doing anything because this line is already pretty solid. The bolts aren't in it right now, but whenever the bolts are in it, I mean, there's not much reason to support it up here. It really needs to be supported in the middle. So I'm gonna take this and shave down probably 1/4 of an inch, and it sticks out far enough where the outside shouldn't matter. It should just be the inside. And then I think in theory it won't matter. So this will just hang over a little bit. This will be shaved off. Okay, 10 minutes later, we're back. So we got our piece. I tried to use the spinning wheel grinder. It wasn't having it. It was wanting to throw it everywhere, and then I ended up scarring it up, trying to hold it tighter. So it is what it is. I ended up just using the hand file and just filing it down. So now we have our brake holder. Pretty sweet. I'm going to put just 1 layer, maybe 2 layers of electrical tape where this mounts, just to keep it from rubbing, maybe help it stay a little bit more secure. And then we're going to re-Loctite our bolt and should be good to go to bleed the brakes. Okay, so we got our stainless steel rear brake line in. We left the slack kind of in the front, just a little bit in the rear, but most of your slack needs to be towards the front because that's the part that's going to move. Kind of glad we did the back and front. I don't know what's up with that because it's a 2022, and the only time I've seen brake fluid turn dark that quick is whenever it's really cheap brake fluid. So we're going to get some Motul 600 is what we're going to put back in it. Good brake fluid. It'll last us pretty good. So .4, it'll last us probably a whole nother season. So, and that one won't turn dark near as fast as whatever's in there. That looks like some auto parts store or something. Usually they don't do that unless they get water in them, so it doesn't really make sense. Alright, so we got our Ear Mosi that we're going to use. This came off of a used bike that came in, and it was kind of a strange one. Whenever I went to go use it for the first time, it kind of started like binding, and I noticed that, I mean, they all kind of bounce up and down like this. The factory throttle bounces up and down like that also. But this one just seemed like it was a little bit excessive, maybe like 7 or 8 millimeters. It was a lot of play. So hit up Robert Ear Mosi. He said, hey, the old version uses these bigger spacers. Yours looks like it has a smaller spacer in it. So hey, I'll just go ahead and send you these. Let me know if it works. And sure enough, we got one to play with just in case we messed up. And this one we filed down. So if I take this one out, kind of hold our lid back on, you can see that that's perfect. That's like 1 millimeter or less of play. So gonna really enjoy that. And honestly, from this shim to this shim, whenever we ground it down, it was a difference of 0.2 millimeters. So you're talking tiny amount of space, but hey, perfection is perfection. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this on, get our front brake lever on, and probably swap some tires today, and that'll probably be it. But looking forward to getting the hypers on. These little parts, you know, they add to the look, and you know, little parts add up over time, and then all of a sudden it's, you know, done project. But the swapping the tires out for B-locks, I think is going to be one of the biggest visual changes that we're going to probably do on this one. Just a little bit inside, so we're just going to take this sander, just run across it to make sure it doesn't bunch up and cause the bearing to stop moving. Alright, so that's looking pretty good all the way around, and we're just going to take the press side, which is the flat side, and you can see this side is rounded. We don't want that side. So we want the press side up, and we're just going to make sure it's kind of even. So go ahead and align our Zerk plugs. I'll give you plenty of extras just in case. But just make sure that you're kind of watching it because it can cross thread pretty easy. Zerk fittings are in. Now we just got to torque everything down and get the wheels back on it. We got the ride height set, the camber set, the toe end set, and now we're going to work on the rear. Looking at the width of these arms just in front of it, I know the wheel's not on right now, but honestly it was a difference of like maybe 1 inch. So instead of doing wheel spacers and worrying about, you know, putting more stress on the axle, we're going to do a little bit safer option, which is what they had suggested, was just swap out the Raptor hubs for a YFZ hub. And you know, we got the current YFZ project going on, so we can steal these, put the smaller hubs on the YFZ that has an adjustable axle and not lose any of our adjustability there. So we got our YFZ hubs on, and you can see that, I mean, that's about, I'll straighten up the bars. But it's pretty much even. The rear might be in like 1/4 of an inch, maybe, but I'm good with that. So on to the next step.
I didn't know that it'd be so hard, yeah, for me to relax, finding my purpose. I don't know what makes me happy, don't know what makes me sad. I sit around and ponder emotions in my head. I give up, no matter what I do, I'm not here, no. I try so hard to stop, I give in to every single bad temptation. And I just wanna feel like a good person, a good person. When I wake every single morning now, I give up. No matter what I do, I give up. I give up. And I just wanna feel like a good person, a good person. When I wake every single morning now, I give up. I give up. I just wanna feel free without any expectations. So many people think they know me, but they only know my music. And there's so much opportunity, so hard to make the most of it. When you feel so depressed and your bed whispers just to stay in it, I think I've had enough of it. I know that I'm not gonna win. Surrendering my everything, I'm giving up, I'm giving in. Nobody understands what I'm going through, can't explain.
Final thoughts on the Raptor. There is something to be said about wheelie on demand. That's something that I really haven't had before, even on the KTM 525, because it's carbureted. If you try to jab it from dead stop, sometimes the wheels won't come up because carburetor kind of hesitates a little bit. But the Raptor, I think I'm going to keep on playing around with the front end. Right now it's on -2, which is what I run on the 450s. And I think it might be able to turn a little bit sharper. Up there on the flat, if you really tried to whip the handlebars, it would, almost instantly kind of come up on two wheels. Not like you were going to tip, but if you try to get too aggressive with it, it kind of wants to stop the front end instead of kind of whip and go that way. Other than that, you can feel the weight under you for sure. The 450, once you get back on the 450, not only the dual overhead cam, you can kind of whip the throttle and not think about too much and not think too much about it. With the Raptor, that last clip, you can see that whenever I came out of the woods and got on it, I was really not prepared for the torque. I had been riding a 450 all day long, and whenever I jabbed it, I think I had to kind of pedal it about 3 times and then realize, hey, the Raptor, you can't dig into the front, dig in forward and expect it to turn. The Raptor, you kind of got to sit back, maybe keep your butt on the seat, maybe just lean back and just let it power slide the corner and just blow out every berm that you go through, and then just roll into the throttle and easy shift. There's no reason to be quick shifting it or whipping the throttle back and forth. And you can see some of those clips of the 450 going up the hills. The 450 is wide open almost. Had to switch down. The Raptor, it was kind of just like hold at half throttle and just kind of cruise. So the Raptor, final thoughts, if you like cool things to ride, and I would definitely throw this in that category. So with the wider arms, it's more stable. The YFZ hubs got it done for the rear. Stage 3 cam and big 3, really that's all the power you need in the woods. I'd even say that it's overkill. I honestly say that first ride at Iron Mountain, I told everybody, hey, this thing overpowers every trail that it's going to hit. But that is part of the fun factor. So appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.